Welcome to Policy and Profit, the podcast for ambitious insurance agents and agency owners who want to build predictable, profitable businesses without chasing bad leads or begging for referrals. And fun fact, did you know the average insurance agent makes a measly, whopping $52,000 in a single year? And over 90% give up in their first year. The top 1% doing anything remarkable or worthy with their license are making 5 to 10 times as much selling the exact same policies, earning anywhere between $150,000 and $500,000 a year. And it's not luck, my friend, it's leverage. The secret is they are following a system to generate fresh hot leads, book appointments, and close policies like clockwork. I've put together a no-cost blueprint that shows you that system, how to add $5,000 to $15,000 in monthly recurring revenue, guaranteed in under 90 days, that you can access for free. Just go to writemorepolicies.com/blueprint or click the link in the description. Today's guest is Wayne Carr. He is a seasoned financial professional with over 20 years of industry experience, coupled with 5 years in the service industry. His unique blend of experience helped breathe a breath of fresh air into an industry historically approached with extreme anxiety. So, Wayne, welcome to the show. Tell me something you believe is the key to succeeding in life insurance sales that most agents completely overlook.
I think first of all, thanks for having me. I think the thing that most agents completely overlook is the fact that it's a people business, and at the end of the day, it's about the people on the other side, and not so much about the policy. And when I say the people, it's not just the person that you're speaking to, but the people that they're looking to protect. Because very few people are buying life insurance for their own interests, which is why a lot of people refer to it or say it should be called love insurance. They're buying it to protect the people that depend on them or the people that they care about. And I think people get so focused on the policy itself or aren't introduced to insurance the proper way that they just completely miss the fact that it's a people-driven business at its purest form.
I like that you mentioned that. One thing Dan Kennedy taught me when I first started into this whole marketing world. First off, there's a quote. I think it's who was Peter Thiel or somebody. It's like you only sell because you don't know how to market, and you only market because you don't know how to build a good product. And that's always stuck with me. But Dan Kennedy says, "I will start with the who." And if you look at what most agents do, they start with the what. They say, "I have a policy.
Yeah.
Who can I sell it to?" Rather than who do I want to serve and what type of policy would be most advantageous to them. And I promise you, when you flip that and you start thinking not problem solution, but solution problem model, it unlocks a lot of revenue that you'd have never had before that. So I talk more about this idea of love insurance. That's fascinating. And where my mind goes when it hears that, De Beers Diamond, they invented the how do you make 2 months salary last forever, and
Yeah.
it's you buy a diamond, and they set a precedent, even though it's all artificial, and they either have poor kids mining in cobalt mines or whatever for 50 cents a day, or forced labor, or they just create them in labs. So your diamond that you bought your wife for 100 grand, it's really actually not worth shit. But it's still funny because it's all
Yeah.
manufactured consent and belief.
Right.
So talk to us more about this love insurance. I like that concept.
Yeah, no, I think you kind of touched on it when you said it's about who you serve. And I think that's why my approach to it is unique and why my service industry comes in handy because it's really about serving the people and serving their needs. Because in the service industry, you're taught to kind of be present, but not really disrupt the process. Anticipate people's needs, listen to understand, and not listen until your turn to talk. And the insurance industry is no different. It's about anticipating their needs, uncovering the needs that they didn't even know that they had, and really serving them. Because a lot of people will come to you and say, "Hey, I want this." And if you don't serve them and develop an understanding of why they came to you in that first place, then you might put them in an unfavorable position because a lot of people don't really understand or have an insurance license. And if you do, you know infinitely more about insurance than they do and are better suited to tell them what they need versus just taking orders. And some people, one of the places that I started, say we're nothing more than order takers. And I completely disagree with that because nobody goes to the doctor and says, "Hey, can you give me this amlodipine and this atorvastatin?" They go with an ailment and the doctor prescribes a prescription, and you're no different than the doctor on the other side. You're a professional.
Yeah, and you guys can do some really interesting stuff. If you look at what doctors do, is they all sell with authority because you trust them. They essentially, hey, said, I went through this many years of schooling. My opinions have been de-risked by the state, by Board of Education, by all this stuff. And so we naturally just trust them more because there's less risk
Hmm.
attached to their opinion. So we naturally pedestalize people like that. And if you can apply that same, we all have scripts for life. When you get in your car, you run the I'm in my car script and you start driving with the script. You don't have
Yeah.
to think about how fast should, no, you take off with your script. And so if you can steal the script they go to for the doctor, I have a problem. What's my prescription? Except the problem with a lot of you is that you try to prescribe without a diagnosis. And that's illegal in the world of doctors. That's called malpractice, and you lose your
Right.
license if you're a doctor. And I think if you do that as an agent, you should lose your license. So
Absolutely.
I know, contrarian ideas over here. And so I'm glad you're bringing this up because there's not really a person first approach. It is an order taker. Just what do you want? How much money can I get from you? And
Yeah.
you probably see a lot of the agents sell what they want to sell rather than what people want to buy. And it's like
Absolutely.
extreme mismatch. And this goes really. And then you mentioned who you're serving is a bit different. So this ties really well into what I know you're passionate about, which is this whole idea of infinite banking concepts, which I hear idiots on TikTok, infinity banking and tax-free retirement when you're 20 years old. You just put $1 million in here and you're rich next year. It's not how it works. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, that's not at all how it works. And that it kind of grinds my gears, for lack of a better way to put it, in because I know this is going to be broadcast. And I think it goes back to what you said before, and us putting those doctors on a pedestal because they have years of experience. And a lot of those people that are spewing those misconceptions or those half truths are just getting into the industry, and they were sold the industry on a transition from where they are to a an instant six-figure career. And that's, like you said, that's not how it works. I've been here 20 years because I serve the people. I listen, I diagnose, and I provide solutions. And infinite banking is nothing more than a cash flow solution. It's about managing cash flow. And the product that they're positioning is setting aside money that they hope will grow into something. Whereas infinite banking is about managing your cash flow and maximizing your dollars and capitalizing and leveraging those dollars to either enhance your lifestyle or execute on investment strategies or whatever it is that you might be pursuing, or even just getting out of debt more quickly, paying off your house more quickly, or minimizing the amount of interest that you pay on credit cards. So I think it's really classic bait and switch. They're telling you you can do all these things with insurance and then selling you a product that's very restrictive in approaching those things. And what I say is do you want to become your own bank now, or do you want to hopefully become your own bank at some point in the future when all these variables kind of materialize and all these things have to go right? Or do you want to get in this vehicle where it's tried and true, has performed with consistency for over 120 years, and just learn how to think about and approach money differently, where you don't have to change the way that you live? It's really just about where your money goes first, as opposed to setting aside money with the hopes that it grows into that $1 million retirement plan.
Yeah, it's very funny. I remember when I first joined the industry, they're just like, well, insurance agents get paid on the cost of insurance. And so a lot of you out there, if you've ever been sold a infinite banking policy, it's nothing more than an IUL with max death benefit and very low cash accumulation, which is the complete opposite of what you would want. And I have my own infinite banking policy. I put quite a bit of money into there because the problem that a lot of you agents have to realize is that when you're selling an IUL, you have to understand what problem your product solves. Correct, Wayne?
Right, 100%.
Problem that an IUL or any of this solves is Wayne, I have too much money and don't know what to do with it. And so it's just an avenue of cash. There's different policies for different stuff, but I'm participating whole life and stuff like that. And if you look at how banks structure them, it's Coley and Bowley, right? Bank owned life insurance, corporate owned life insurance, which is how my policies are structured,
Right.
which is why everyone at the banks are vice presidents because they have no
Exactly.
insurable interest.
Nobody. Exactly.
And so what I can tell you know some stuff about this just by the way you talk about it, because essentially the question you should be asking your customers is, Wayne, how can you spend the same dollar twice? I haven't figured out over here if you want it. So
Yeah.
get Give us some more of like the misconceptions because I can't stand what any of these agents are talking about on TikTok because first of all, they're 20 years old and they've accomplished nothing. It's like when an 18-year-old tries selling me a dating course on Facebook DMs. It's like, dude, you might have kissed one girl your whole life and that was your mother. It's like, what could you possibly tell me about dating that I don't already know?
Right, right.
It's funny. So talk like I would love if you would dispel some rumors because it's very sad to see people come in, they put 10 years into a policy just to get ate up by fees because the agent misrepresented it.
Right, right. I think the biggest thing up front is the liquidity and the access to funds. If you have a participating whole life, like you said, you get access to 70, 80% inside of 30 days, as opposed to the other product where they tell you not to touch it for 5, 7, 10 years. And if you tell me not to touch my money, I have questions as to why I'm giving you so much of my money, and then I can't touch it. And then to have access to 90% within the first year that I actually want you to touch. I want you to leverage it to go enhance your life. I want you to leverage it to take back the banking function, to get out of debt, to live a more fulfilling lifestyle for you and your family. The other thing is that they say you can't live due to market performance. And the reason that they say due to market performance is because there's other ways that you can lose in that policy that they never talk about. And a lot of them don't talk about it because they're following a script. They don't understand the product themselves, and they're just spewing these things to grab your attention to put you into the vehicle, hoping that you never peel back the layers or ask the questions that they can't answer because their upline either doesn't know or he doesn't want to have that conversation to begin with. So he told you to do these things. And probably the biggest thing is that what would the Rockefellers do or Walt Disney or the various people that they lean on that they say use this strategy, but the product that you're positioning didn't even exist when they were using this strategy. So how is that even possible? So it's really a common sense question and a common sense conversation. And if you approach it properly, then you'll figure it out.
Yeah, and the way agents structure stuff, you can tell they don't understand nuances. And we can all go off scripts, right? There is a script. I can hand you a script right now. We can go to Boeing's website or anywhere on the internet and give you the checklist that every single pilot uses to take off in a plane. But Wayne, if I give you that script, do you feel comfortable enough to go start the APU and run through the checklist and fly us home?
Absolutely not.
No, because it comes through depth and experience, which these agents lack, which I'm glad we're dispelling. Just go ask the agent selling you this shit. Well, what type of fees are associated with something like this? What percentage would I be borrowing money at? Because that's one reason this policy is such a strong financial vehicle, not as an investment strategy. I've never sold it as an investment, but it's fantastic, not for evading, but avoiding taxes. You can't tax debt.
100%.
So when you
Yep.
borrow money, you can't tax it, which is why they do so many 1035 exchanges inside of these policies and stuff like that. It's very nuanced, and it's hard to find people like Wayne, which is why I have no problem giving you an audience on here. I believe in what you do, because most agents, if I'm just being real, they don't know shit about fuck. And
Yeah.
I'm just being real. Like, if first of all, if you're a person with money and you're offended by something like that I just said, it's just go work with the TikTok agent. When they cost you $1 million over the next 40 years, don't blame me and Wayne because you didn't like the fact that I cursed. I know
Yeah.
I'm a flawed human. I'm working on it. So send me some help over here, Wayne. But what is the one thing you wish people knew about this concept?
I think it works on every level. It truly does. And it can be customized, truly customized to fit you where you are. And then as you grow, you can just add policies. Nelson Nash, the father of infinite banking, when he passed away, he had 48 policies. And I think that speaks volumes to the fact that you can get one today, you can get one next year when you get a raise, you can get one in 5 years when you're an empty nester and your kids are gone and you have extra cash flow. And all of them will be there, just like you have multiple bank accounts. You can have multiple policies and they operate the same way. And the other thing is that you have complete control. You control how the money goes in, when the money goes in, how the money comes out, when it comes out, and then you control your repayment strategy. They're never going to say, hey, you borrowed money, you have this due date, we need X amount. If it's structured properly. If it's that other vehicle and you borrow from it too soon, they will tell you have to start paying it back because you run the risk of it blowing up, which is why they say don't touch it for 5, 7, 10 years.
Yeah, and the good thing about this is if you die before you pay back the loans, it essentially just comes out of the death benefit or
Right.
anything like that. And what a lot of people don't break down is you're not borrowing from your cash value, you borrow from the claim reserves of the company, a very
Yeah.
solvent institution. Which is what guys only work with A-rated carriers.
It's OPM 101. Everybody screams about other people's money, but then they're like, why would I borrow my own money? You're not borrowing your money. You're borrowing the insurance company's money. Your money's safe in their coffers, which, like you said, strongest financial institutions on the planet.
Yeah, these people had no problems during the Great Depression, anything like that. They were still solvent because they had huge reserves.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, they're just selling thin air. It's hey, it's a slot machine, it's a casino. Wayne, I'm willing to bet you're betting me $100 a month that you die in the next 30 years. I'm willing to bet you 100,000 you don't, based on mortality tables and actuary. So it's very funny and. I really do wish more people were literate enough to understand this, but unfortunately, the misdirection, miseducation centers, I'm sorry, the child concentration camps, I did it again, damn it. The education system, the schools teach you to memorize teacher, get a good grade. And they teach you nothing about financial literacy, logic, communication. And so uh, I really want you guys, if you're interested in something like this, or you've asked yourself the question, I have extra money, what do I do with it? Or how can I spend the same dollar twice? I want you to reach out to Wayne. So this has been really valuable. Wayne, for the agents and agency owners listening who want to learn more about what you do, tell us who's a good fit to work with you and how they can get in touch.
I think really anybody that's putting money into a savings account, that's managing credit card debt, that has a mortgage, a car payment. So when I say it, it fits into anybody's lifestyle and can enhance anybody's lifestyle. It really is anybody that's open to changing the way that you think about money. And if it's something that interests you, you can reach me on Instagram at Wayne Runs, Wayne M. Carr on LinkedIn, Facebook, Wayne M. Carr, or you can just call me direct at 419-392-8533 and we can have a conversation about how this might work for you.
Fantastic. We're going to wrap up here, guys. You go, guys. Go comment down below. Say thank you to Wayne Carr for sharing his insights on infinite banking and how to find a policy that's actually structured for you so you can stop putting money in a bank account that'll never double in your lifetime. And how do I know that? Just law of 72, the rule of 72. Go take 72 divided by whatever your interest rate is. That'll tell you how long it takes your money to double. It's a very well known in people like us as well. It's like, duh, Mason. We all know seven. We all know that, but unfortunately, normal people don't. The muggles out there. So, for those of you interested in learning more about infinite banking, or you're an agent, you want help with how to structure policies, go talk to Wayne. If you're someone with a mortgage and you're looking to reallocate, money is simply a function of data, and so where you move it multiplies its effects, right, Wayne?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where
So
it goes
leverage
first
it
is paramount.
differently. If you do what everyone else is doing with money, you'll have the results everyone else has with theirs. They can barely afford their bills and they can barely buy what they need. So if that's you, keep doing what you're doing. And for those of you smart enough to recognize you need to be flexible and you need to change, reach out to Wayne. I'll have all of his links down below in the description. And I wish you all the luck in the world in working together. If you'd like to be a guest on Policy and Profit, we're always looking for agents and agency owners doing at least 10K a month in commissions and have unique strategies and stories to share. You can apply at the link down below in the description. And one more time, if you want to stop chasing bad leads and start booking qualified appointments with people who actually want to buy insurance, go grab our free booked and banked blueprint at writemorepolicies.com/blueprint. Until next time, keep building that commission machine, my friends. Wayne, you crushed it, dude. That was fantastic, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.